Have you ever found yourself in a busy room just feeling completely and totally overwhelmed while everyone else seems fine? Well, today we're diving into the neurological reality of sensory overload, and we're going to see why it isn't some kind of character flaw, but actually a fundamental difference in how your brain is wired.
And this quote, it just nails it. What might be simple background noise to someone else can feel like a full-blown hurricane inside your head. It's a really isolating feeling, but trust me, it's a very, very real one. So that leads us to the big question, right? We're going to try and shift the whole perspective here, away from all that self-blame and straight toward a real scientific understanding. Because just knowing why this is happening, well, that can change everything.
All right, first things first. Let's actually step inside that sensory storm to really get what the lived experience is like. You know, for a lot of people, a crowded restaurant is fun, it's lively. But for a sensitive nervous system, it can feel like a minefield of just overwhelming information.
It can start with something as simple as the lights. To most people, it's just light. But for you, that fluorescent fixture has a sound, doesn't it? That high-frequency, irritating buzz that you just can't tune out. And it's not just what you hear, it's what you feel. That tiny little tag on your shirt doesn't feel like fabric. It feels like sandpaper scraping against your skin. This constant, tiny little distraction that's just screaming for your attention. Then boom, the smell hits you. An aroma from 3 tables away isn't just a faint scent in the air. It's so powerful, it completely hijacks your train of thought. So here's the thing. While other people are just chilling and chatting, your brain is in total overdrive. It's burning through a massive amount of energy just to process and survive an environment it's taking in with incredible and exhausting detail. Okay, so you've got this intense internal battle going on, but what does the outside world see? Well, this almost always leads to a huge misunderstanding, and you end up getting slapped with a bunch of external labels. Yeah, I'm sure some of these sound familiar. When you have to leave a loud party early, you're antisocial. When a certain fabric is physically uncomfortable, you're being picky or difficult. These labels just completely miss the mark on the physiological reality of what's actually happening to you. And when you add all that up over the years, man, it's just this deep, quiet exhaustion. It's the feeling of constantly forcing yourself to endure situations that are genuinely painful, all just to try and fit into a world that, frankly, was not designed for your neurotype. But here's where things start to change. Let's get into the science, the actual neurological truth behind all this, because this isn't about willpower, it's about wiring. Okay, this is probably the most important thing to get. It all comes down to a filter. See, most brains have this automatic filter. They hear a clock ticking, their brain goes, not important, and it fades into the background. But for a sensitive brain, that filter isn't missing, it's just wide open. That clock's tick stays at full intrusive volume because your brain is built to gather all the data, not to discard it. And we're not talking about a small difference here. The sheer scale of this is, honestly, it's staggering. Some research suggests your brain can process all this input at up to 10 times the intensity. So when you say something is too much, it's not an exaggeration. It literally is. And it's also worth pointing out that this can go 2 different ways. Some people are hypersensitive. That's when the world feels painfully loud and bright. But others are hyposensitive, where they're actually seeking out really intense input just to feel grounded and registered in their own bodies. So living like this, with the volume turned all the way up, it comes with a price tag. And it's one that's almost always invisible to everyone else. And a huge part of that price is something called masking. It's that psychological performance you put on to hide your discomfort. You smile through the loud party, you wear the itchy sweater, you pretend the noise doesn't bother you. And yeah, it helps you seem normal, but it is incredibly, incredibly draining. And that masking, it leads you straight into this really predictable, really draining cycle of burnout. First, you enter a challenging environment. Second, you start masking to get through it. Third, that performance completely depletes your energy reserves. And fourth, you get the inevitable post-event collapse, where you might need hours or even days to recover from something others just found a little tiring. So I really want you to let this next part sink in. Your overwhelm, your exhaustion, your need to escape, these are not failures of character. They are legitimate distress signals. It's just your nervous system screaming out for relief. Okay, so understanding all of this is huge. It's step 1. But the next step, that's where the power is. It's when you start building a life that actually honors your neurology instead of constantly fighting against it. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The goal isn't to fix yourself or to become less sensitive. The goal is to create an environment where your nervous system can actually relax and thrive. So what does that look like? It means building a practical, personalized toolkit. It could be something as simple as a great pair of noise-canceling headphones that give you back control. It means designing your home to be a sensory sanctuary, getting rid of visual clutter and harsh lighting. It also means embracing routines and tools not as a boring limitation, but as a smart way to save precious mental energy. And maybe most importantly, it means finally letting go of that myth that you have to force yourself into more social situations to get over it. These aren't crutches. They are smart accommodations for the way you are wired. It's really time we reframe this whole thing, right? This is not a deficit. We've just talked about how your brain takes in all the data. Well, a system that can do that is also a system that processes the world with incredible depth, with incredible pattern recognition. It's just a different kind of operating system, not a faulty one.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important takeaway of all. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You are simply a person who is wired for a different kind of environment. And the most powerful, liberating thing you can do is to finally give yourself permission to start building that environment for yourself.